how many people are here for the first time today? Oh, wonderful. Great. Well, for those of you who are not familiar with us, the meditation museums are operated by the Brahma Kumaris, and we have 9,000 branches in 120 countries. And in this location, we have the Tyson's Corner location and also one in Silver Spring, Maryland as well. And we offer a full range of classes and workshops and also corporate training as well. Today, we have a wonderful program with Sister Jenna, who's our director. Sister Jenna has a long bio. I could go on forever telling you all about her and her many accomplishments. But in short, Sister Jenna is the director of both museums, Silver Spring and Tyson's Corner, Virginia. And she also hosts the America Meditating radio show. And if you're not familiar with that, we'll talk about that later at the end of the program. Now let's welcome Sister Jenna. Come on, you give her a little more.
That's okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Did she tell you who she was?
No.
She does it all the time. That's our boss, CEO, Antonia Silvera. So she keeps us running. Good morning. Welcome. Can you believe it's not 12 o'clock yet? Don't you love it? You anxious for it to become 12? Or tonight? Or later? Because one of the things I've found in our lives is that we're too much speeding up. Hush the rush. After today, your new mantra and your new mem is hush the rush, okay? Everything's going to unfold as it is supposed to unfold. Anyway, I'm glad that I can be with you this morning. Did you say hello to the person next to you? Did you at least smile? If in case of an emergency, you can tell them, oh, I know you, come with me. I want to start this new initiative called Know Thy Neighbor, because we're in such an interesting time nationally and globally that sometimes we don't even know the person that lives 10 blocks down or 10 houses down. And so it's so important for us to be able to know each other. So whenever you walk into any space after today, please look around, know where the exit is, see the people who you're with, value the moment. Please, hush the rush, remember that. All right? So every time I come into this space, doesn't matter how many times I've entered this door, I swear on my life, when I look through that little hallway and I feel the energy, I'm so appreciative for what has been designed by purity, divinity, goodness of people's spirit. I'm just very moved by the whole experience. And what can happen is that you see something over and over again and you stop valuing it. Have you ever done that? Have you ever done that?
Yes.
Do you remember when you went to one of these department stores and you saw a picture or a painting or a statue and you just had to have it? Or perhaps you went to a department store and you saw a pair of shoes or an outfit and you had to have that outfit? Do you have the same feeling now? This is weird, right? So why is it like that? Why do we sometimes forget some of the things that we should remember, and we remember the things that we should be forgetting? Yeah, it's like that sometimes. I know it's a little bit warm in here, so if someone can go to the Pilates studio and see if we can turn the AC or fan on, that'd be nice. Even though I'm from the Caribbean, I like cold. Isn't that interesting? And I know a lot of folks who love the cold, and they're like from cold places. No, they love the heat, but they tend to not like cold places. So today we're talking about the mind, and about the stages that the mind goes through. Hi, Russell. Nice to see you. So what happens is that the mind is a very interesting energy. All right? Let's see if we can identify at least how the mind works first today as we go into our conversation. All right? And I want you to be very comfortable. Make sure your phone is either turned off or is silenced. And you're welcome to record what I'm about to say, because it might make no sense at all. It might make a little sense, right, Russ? Little bit. So, what is the mind? A lot of us claim that when we do meditation or spirituality, when we practice to meditate, the success of our meditation is to empty the mind. Have you ever heard that? Okay, as of today, forget that formula. It makes no sense. It's not possible to empty your mind when your living energy, your spirit, is living life. And there's been so much good in your life, hasn't it? And the moments in your life in which it has felt not so good, how much energy have you paid to that not so good energy? So if you look at your life, majority of your life is very, very good. But sometimes there is a particular event, situation, person, or expectation that you begin to feed, making it more important than all the good that's happening in your life. Have you ever done that? And then you stop being appreciative and grateful for all the good things that you've been given by God, by destiny, and by your own efforts. So just for a little moment, I'd like you, within 30 seconds, to be thankful for everything that you have good in your life right now, just from your mind. What are you grateful for? Think about them. How does that make you feel? Didn't you feel like an opening took place? Yes. So they say that the more grateful you can become in your life, the more abundance will find you. Don't we get anxious in our lives sometimes when we don't feel we have enough? Have you ever felt that? I don't know if I'll have enough money to pay the mortgage next month. I don't know if my health will keep going well. I don't know if in my relationship he will leave me or he will stay with me, or she will leave me or she will stay with me. I can go into a job and I know they're going to fire me. But do you go in with the anger and the anguish, or do I go in, let me show them I'm my best? No matter what, I will leave a good record. Because that energy that you bring into that scene is going to go with you as a ripple effect of karmic energy. Karmic energy means there's a law of cause and effect that takes place. Whatever I think travels with me. Whatever I say travels with me. Whatever I do travels with me. So even though they're going to let me go, I'm going to leave the best of me behind. Because what's going to travel with me is the good that I've done. A few years ago, we had a meditation museum in downtown Silver Spring. How many of you visited that one? Amen? You, right. And it was sweet, right? And we knew that we only had 6 years of lease, or 6.5 years of lease before they decide to build a bigger building. But we were experimenting with the idea of the meditation museum. So when we knew we had to move out, I remembered I used to sit on the stage and I would look at the space and I would say, can we really create this again? Will it be as sweet as this? And every time I would ask that question, I would get the answer, much better, much better. Because you're putting in the same feeling, that same feeling. You're going to take that wherever you go. So sometimes when we understand the law of cause and effect, karma philosophy, Hindus call it, and it's in every tradition and every religion, that there is a return for the thoughts that I think, the words that I speak, and the choices that I make. If for whatever reason I find myself in a season of not being able to think the highest thoughts for myself, then what happens to us? How do we begin to feel? Agitated, angry, anxious, uncomfortable. But what do? Because we generally don't pay attention on the self. We then begin to project it on. Don't you love to do that? Don't you love people? We're so happy people are in our lives so we can blame them for ourselves, right? It works, doesn't it? Mm. So what happens is that it gives us a little bit of a little satisfaction. But deep down we know, I've got to do something. I know it. I can feel it. It's something inside of me. So when I first came on, I asked you the question about, do you know what your mind is? What is the role of your mind? Anyone has any idea? Come on, no answer will be wrong. Come on, don't be shy or so I'm not going to talk anymore. What do you think the role of your mind is? And I want you to imagine that you are spirit, you are energy, and sitting in your energy is a particular way you function. You have a mind, you have the ability to choose, and you know that whatever you choose, you will become that. So, what do you think the role of your mind is? The mind wants the best for yourself. Beautiful. Anyone else? What do you think the role of the mind is? That's a big one. My man wants to control me. Okay. Anything else? It's the past. It's the boss. Oh, good. Anybody else? The mind is always seeking desires. Good. Your mind. So, what if you were to accept, as of today, that your mind feels everything you're going through? Your mind is your feeling agent. Think about it. And the only thing that your mind is doing, it's sort of like a television screen. It shows you the genre of the movie you're watching. Right now I'm watching a horror film. Oh God, click. Can we change it to comedy, please? Because when I watch the thoughts that are emerging from my mind, I'm beginning to feel afraid. I'm beginning to feel happy. I'm beginning to feel unhappy. I'm beginning to feel as if I'm learning something here. Think about it. So your mind as a component in your being is your feeling factor. And it feels based on the quality of thoughts that are emerging on its screen. Now, what if you happen to be stuck in a horror film? Have you ever been to a movie with a friend and you didn't know they were taking you there and you're like, oh my gosh, how do I get out of this movie? Have you ever gone to work that day and everybody in the office that day was just like a monster and you just could not get away from work that day? Have you ever walked into your home and the moment you entered the door, you knew somebody was fighting with somebody? And you could feel the energy, right? And everything in you wants to walk back out. I think I forgot milk. But you can't. And you go right in and you deal with it. And you find that you become a part of that story. So your mind begins to feel the thoughts that you're going through. Now, let's identify different kinds of thoughts. How many of you think a lot of positive thoughts every day? Hands up. Oh, come on, 3? Okay, 3.5. And I love these hands that go, I think I do, a little bit. All right, so how many of you in a day have a lot of useful thoughts? I gotta go to work, I gotta be on time. I'm late to the meditation museum. Oh my God, where is this place? Did that happen to you? And so what happens is that you get useful thoughts. So useful thoughts are not wasteful thoughts. You get that? So I got to get up at 6, got to get ready. I'm going to wear this outfit to work. I'm going to do this. These are useful thoughts. They help to take you to where you need to go. You with me? All right. How many of you have had waste thoughts? Hands up. How come I never get these hands? Like, once in a while. What do you define as a waste thought? Worry. Okay, what else? Could you be more specific? What's like a waste thought for you? There you go. You get an extra blessing today. So the same thought running again and again in your mind. So I can identify there's a problem. Like, I know that you are after me. Let's just say that. I know you're not. But it was interesting that I kept going, I don't want to pick on you, I don't want to pick on you. But let's just say that I might have the thought that I think you have it out for me at work. And I've had the thought once. I go, I'll be careful. But if I find myself having that thought over and over and over again, it is not only a waste thought, but I will continue to reconfirm and manifest more of that truth. Do you understand? Now, who creates that thought? Is it you who've created that thought in me because I know you have it up for me? Or is it me who's doing this for me? All right. So when we start to have a lot of wasteful thoughts about our own existence and our own lives, we start to feel something very deep in the spirit that this isn't right. You have to stop thinking that. Have you ever had that feeling? You must curtail this thinking. So what? She's like this. Move on. And what happens is that sometimes you don't seem to find the power to do it. Have you been there? And you're like, girl, I just don't know why I can't stop thinking about this guy or this thing or this situation. Have you ever felt that? Don't you just find that to be the most uncomfortable place to be in? Yeah. Because something in your soul knows you're supposed to be stronger here. I'm in charge of how I want to feel. And for some reason, I can't stop this feeling. Do you know why? Because I forgot that a few months ago, a few weeks ago, a year ago, I kept feeding the same thought over and over and over and over again. Hi, Vivek, bye. And what happened is, as I kept feeding the thought over and over and over again, it started to build momentum. Do you understand where I'm going with this? So as you begin to build momentum of that same waste thought, your spirit, because it's naturally a very peaceful and pure energy, it starts to feel uncomfortable. And it can become so uncomfortable that it starts to feel anxious because a part of you wants to stop, but then another part automatically keeps pulling you there. So the anxiety is coming because something from the past is pulling you back, which you don't remember. You've fed that thought for a long time. And there was no thought police to tell you, I'm going to give you a ticket. You cannot keep thinking that over and over again. And then there's the other thought that says, I don't want this for me anymore. I don't want to think this. And so there's another thought pulling you too far ahead when you haven't done the work right here. So anxiety can come and anxiousness can come because you can feel there's a tug of war. Have you felt that? And then one of the other signs when you're not able to identify it very subtly, your body starts to feel it. You sometimes feel your heartbeat beats fast. Sometimes you ever get chills. Yeah, they go, oh, what was that? And then sometimes you feel like you don't know if you're going forward or if you're going backward. But all you know, it feels like your wires are kind of mixed up, right? So, what's the reason for that? If I've been having consistent waste thoughts over a long period of time, and I'm not paying attention that these thoughts have a consequence, they go against my natural energy of peace and purity as a living energy. Isn't that amazing? Now, some of us go to churches, some of us go to synagogues, some of us go to mosques, some of us come to the meditation museums, right? Some of us call friends, some of us maybe put on an online spiritual program, some of us maybe read our scriptures. Some of us maybe will wake up in the morning and be happy for the family in our lives and give blessings and cook a good meal. And for a little bit, it gives us temporary help. It distracts me from the fact that I'm not taking care of myself fully. Have you done that? I know, right? So it distracts me and it helps me feel better for a little. And I'm okay. And I can go another mile. I've just taken another step. I can do this. But then the anxiety and the anxiousness comes back again, because then there goes Monday morning, I'm back at work. I'm with those same people. My husband hasn't changed. My wife hasn't changed. My teenager hasn't changed. And then I start to have those waste thoughts again, because nobody is checking me with my thoughts. Isn't that something? There's no thought police parked at the side of 495 going, pull over, ma'am, you're having a waste thought. Have you noticed? What if there was a thought police? Do you know how many tickets we would get? You know how many times you'd have to go to court for thinking classes? So think about how we're feeling. So what I'd like you to do today is to accept that however you're feeling, I get it. I get why I feel the way that I feel. I got it. And you just sink that in. And then you have to determine for yourself right now if this is how you want to feel all the time. So what if you were to be given an opportunity to think differently, and you did go to thinking class? They always tell you when you go to driving school, I used to get so many tickets when I was in my teens and 20s. I used to race cars, I loved it. So I just could not follow the speed limit. But I remembered every time I went to driving school, they would always tell you driving is a privilege. I go, okay, whatever. But you know, you're young, so you're ignorant. But thinking is a privilege. Thinking is a privilege. So to what extent are you willing to use your thoughts in a way that serves your higher purpose? So when you go to your thinking class, you have an instructor. I would like to call your instructor your conscious choice, your intellect. In Hindi, they called it buddhi. Your intellect, your conscious choice. And your instructor begins to tell you, if you think like this will happen. How about if you try thinking like that? Don't think like that. And they keep training you, it keeps training you. Please, stop having that waste thought. Don't feed that thought anymore. Remember why you got the ticket in the first place. And you're sitting and you're trying to break your pattern, right? And the instructor keeps telling you, I want you to think thoughts that are only useful, productive, matching your goals, your dreams, beneficial for humanity. If they're not connected to any of these, don't think them. You're going to get another ticket. By the way, I've gotten no tickets, FYI. So you might be thinking, did she get a ticket from a cop recently? I need some wood. It's a superstition. They say knock on wood so it doesn't come true. So your instructor, which is your intellect, is telling you, when you know your thoughts are going back into waste or negative thinking, it says, no. This is what I do in meditation, and this is what we invite you to do in our teachings of Raj Yoga meditation taught by the Brahma Kumaris. Have you all ever studied from the Brahma Kumaris? How many of you have studied from the Brahma Kumaris here? Hands up. Do you like us? Yeah. Aren't we pretty cool? How many of you haven't studied yet? Let me see your hands up. Okay, please sign up. It's the most profound teaching you'll ever find in your life. And I've been through every tradition. But what we're learning here is to be able to use the power of conscious choice and determine for ourselves where these thoughts are going to take our lives and what's the intention behind those thoughts. Okay. Be very clear on what your priorities are to help you to determine what thoughts you need to have. Do you prioritize your external life more importantly than your internal world? More times we do. We give a lot of energy to the way we physically look, how much money we need to make, where we live, what car to drive, who we have on our arm as our companion. But we give very little attention to the way we think. Right? So, when we start to pay attention to the quality of thoughts that we have, and we consciously choose what thoughts we need to have, they must be connected to what are the things that are of priority to you. So your priority has to be a peaceful mind. That's your priority. Most important thing is my mind at peace? Second priority, is this thought giving the vibrations of love? Second thing, does this thought give love? The third thing is, does this thought that I'm about to have, does it serve my physical body energetically? Because whatever you think, it impacts the cells in your body and how you feel. I know a sister who has been through quite a lot, but I remembered her very well. She was in an assisted living home, and we used to go to visit her, and sometimes she would literally just scream. And she wasn't screaming because she couldn't move her body much. She was screaming because she just felt so bad about what she was going through internally. And look, her body has seized up. It couldn't even move anymore. It was traumatized. It didn't know what to do for her anymore. So whatever thoughts you have, those thoughts are affecting your body. So you have to recognize that. So your priority is, am I at peace? Is your love coming through this thought? And is it serving the body? Does that make sense? That would be what your conscious choice would determine for you. And then the fourth thing that you can identify is, when you do make your choices, how does this serve? How does this serve others? Those are your base priorities. After that, your car will come, your money will come, your mortgage will be paid, your people will work out, things will happen because you're taking care of yourself. It's when we stop taking care of ourselves, we get out of balance, that people have issues with us. Amazing, isn't it? When we're not in balance, people go, oh, you're too much like this. Why don't you be more like that? And I'm not saying you follow everything everyone tells you, because you have to know yourself. But you have to check if you're doing it too much, over the edge. Strike your balance. So what is your priority? When you use your choices, the choices that you make, they must serve your peace. Check if the vibration is coming through you is of love. Why? Because the first thing it serves is your body. And then the fourth thing that you have to check is what I'm about to think or do or say in service to the greater good. When you practice this routine and pattern, your anxiety and your anxiousness will become less. Do you know why? You're fulfilling your purpose and your call. We are all here to live a full life. And if we're not living fully, we're going to feel very disheartened. Can you see this on, or can somebody put this on the stage? Russell, could you just pick this up for me and put it on the stage so I can do a little diagram? Does anybody have any questions? Anyone has any thoughts to share from what I just offered? Perfect. And just pass me one of the markers. You see how smart I am? I asked a tall person. See, we're the same height. All right. Question.
Is there an instance where your mind will betray you and
Good question.
kind of bring to your forefront things you don't want to think about?
Great question. Did you hear a question? Is there an instance when your mind will betray you? Always. Always. It will always keep trying to deceive you. Because what has happened is that the mind now has the recording that only things that are physical gives me joy. And when we start to get woke or we get awakened, we begin to recognize, no, it's the qualities and the virtues that will give me joy when I acquire the possessions. So we've been kind of indoctrinated to believe that the external world is my form of joy, when really it's the internal world. But I don't think there's anyone to blame. When you and I are growing between the ages of 16 to 25, you have to accept your ego will play a very big role in your development, because you're trying to figure yourself out. And the ego becomes an energy that drives you. It pushes you. I want my career to be like this. I want to get married. I want to have kids. I want to be able to do this and do that. But as you begin to mature and recognize that, you know what gives me joy is the way I treat people, is the way I think about people. This should be another stage after 25 that we develop. Has there been anyone that you've been very nasty to that just hugged you and go, oh, it's okay, you're so sweet? Have you had that? Have you ever spoken harsh to somebody at work and expect them to just give you love and roses and an award at the end of the year? Have you ever had a supervisor or a manager who gave you no respect on the job but expected you to perform? Don't you love those? Those are good. I had one. I passed. No matter what I did, it was never good enough. And I had to just let her go. Because I wasn't here for her, I was here for truth and for service and for that which is good. Do you understand? So do you know yourself to that extent? Right? So your mind will deceive you because you're still trying to work it out. When does your mind not deceive you? When your teacher, the conscious choice, and the mind find unity. Let me explain that. Okay, so let's say, for example, this is you. There's an energy in you. Okay, there's an energy in you. You're looking at me, some of you are looking at me through your eyes. And based on what you have recorded inside of you as a soul, you are trying to understand, or you're interpreting what I'm saying based on your internal life recordings. Isn't that interesting? So imagine all of your experiences that you have had up until this moment that we met. You are understanding what I'm saying to you because of all of your experiences. Isn't that interesting? Hi. Isn't that nice? So that means the way you look at your supervisor isn't the supervisor's problem, it's yours. It's the way you interpret your supervisor. Do you think your supervisor has it out for you? Or do you want the supervisor's position? Takes a lot of deep soul searching. A lot of people that challenge authority figures usually want what the authority has. And they think they can always do better. Because there's an experience in them that there's something maybe wired in them. I can do it better. I know more. How many countries historically have you heard that there was a coup and they took over the country and the country didn't get better? How many people? How many countries have you heard? None. So a lot of times when we think we can do better than which one? Do you know which one? Tell me which one so I can collect. Oh, that is doing better after the coup? They're not doing better. Yeah, that's what, they're not doing better. Right, they're not doing better. The point that I'm making is that sometimes, because I like to be corrected, please know you have permission.
I heard you.
That's okay. We're good. So what happens is that a lot of the experiences that we carry in ourselves, is our own. And in order for us to clear it up, I need to check the way that I'm feeling. Okay? Your feelings won't lie to you. If you're honest enough, you will know if you feel hurt, insulted, loved, appreciated, respected, happy, scared, or I don't have confidence in myself. Your feelings will tell you. And if you're having feelings based on that, you must understand there might have been an experience from your past that you felt that, and you're somehow holding on still to that experience. Okay? Now, let's say it happened 5 years ago, 10 years ago. And if you study in certain ancient traditions, it'll tell you what if it happened 5 lifetimes ago. We won't go there. So what if it happened like many, many years ago, and I haven't resolved the experience? The vibration of that experience still enters my mind. It just comes up. And so when I go to the thinking class, right, and I have this teacher who teaches me how to think in that class, one of the most important factors in breaking the anxiety in your mind or the anxiousness in your mind is to always remember you will always have the power to consciously choose how you want to feel. Always. Always. And no one has any authority over how to make you feel. You're the only one that has the power and the ownership of how you want to feel. So, if I'm feeling scared, then I know what scared feels like. What if I don't want to feel scared anymore? But instead, I want to feel courageous. So then I would ask myself, what does courage feel like? What do I need to put in here? What thought do I need to change? So then you start to consciously choose, I want to choose a thought that I can do this. Maybe I have done this in the past. Maybe I'm going to learn something more from that. And when you develop the courage and you put that thought into action, it creates a new experience. So from scared, you start to begin to develop the experience of feeling confident. And when you keep repeating that practice over and over again, your anxiety and your anxiousness reduces because now you're taking care of your interior world. So that means if you're creating more experiences of confidence, then imagine how you're going to feel and the way you're going to interpret things. So I walk around in life with this energy that there's no problem, there's only solutions. Who else walks around like that? Thank you very much. Now you know how I feel in my group. And I've often had many occasions where I will share things with folks that I have the fortune of being in service with. And I'll say, oh, this is easy to do, just do it like this. And they'd be like, no, but this is what's happening. Well, if we call, I think it's going to be locked, or this is broken. And, oh, I don't even think we can open it. And I go, but have you tried? Okay, I want you to pause for a moment. If you constantly keep thinking there is a problem, what has been your continuous choices? Yeah, you get it? If you keep thinking something is wrong and something is broken, and I'm not picking on you, but you are my problem, right? That poor lady, she's like, I don't even know your last name. But I have started to believe when her energy comes into my field, she's my problem. I just know it, she has it up for me. So there's something in her energetic field that's triggering a memory in me that is still an experience that I'm carrying. So when you go to the thought police, or you go to the thinking class, what you're going to do is begin to choose. I'm not going to keep feeding the same thought. It's of no purpose to me. It's not working. All right. So your mind feels. Your conscious choice chooses what you want to think or feel. And every choice you make, whether it's at a thought level, a word level, or an action level, becomes an experience. Turn to the person next to you and smile. She's so cute. You just gained an experience. Turn to the person next to you and stick out your tongue. Exactly. You gained an experience. Turn to the person next to you and bless them and wish them well. Oh, wow. You feel the energy? Bless you. Exactly. So what you just did, you just changed your experiences. You sat in a room with strangers who you knew from nowhere, and you stuck your tongue out at them, and you smiled at them, hey. And then you went, I bless you. How often have you done that? Did you do it all year yet? Did you stick your tongue out at anybody last year? Even on 495? I-66? Exactly. So what happens, it's normal for us to end up in cycles that we find kind of hard to change, okay? So let's look at a circle that keeps spinning, right? Let's just keep spinning. And we keep having kind of like the same thoughts, and wake up, brush my teeth, wash my face, get dressed for work. Hi, honey. Okay, good kids, go to school. Same routine. Inside of you, you want more, but you're in a pattern and a routine will not ever give you more, right? And then what happens, you sometimes go outside of the cycle and get yourself into trouble. And you get more, but it's not the more that you wanted. You end up feeling like, I've gotten much less than what I had before. Because you weren't working from inside out. You were trying to work from outside in. And what happens, it created something more of a negative energy. So here, imagine your thought energy is constantly spinning. Okay? Same thoughts every day. That means you're creating experiences, the same experiences every day. Something inside of your mind feels it wants more. It looks at people, faces, situations, circumstances. You don't feel you have the more yet, but you want more, but you're not changing this. So you get anxious, and you get frustrated. And you can even get angry with yourself for no reason other than you're just not changing the pattern of your thinking. It's amazing. So if I can just change the pattern of my thinking, I'll be able to change my experiences. And eventually, like you asked a good question, I can trust my mind, because this feeling of confidence feels much better than feeling scared. We have experience of feeling scared. And we also have experiences of feeling confident. So when I feel the feeling of scared coming back on me, I go, wait, hold back. Haven't I done this 10 times before? Breathe. Pause. Change the thought. Come back to where you need to be. Okay? One of the things that we teach in Raj Yoga meditation is to believe in a perennial source. It's an energy we call in yoga, we call it Baba. It's a supreme energy, it's a supreme power. Who likes to go by the beach? Who loves to swim in the ocean? You notice what I did? I like to be by the shore. Don't get me in that water with all those jellyfishes. I don't know what is in there. See, there are fears in different ways, but I love the ocean, right? When you interpret your definition or your form of God, I want you to always imagine the energy of God in the metaphor of an ocean, that there's so much love from that source. There's so much peace that comes from the source. There's so much purity that comes from the source. So, let's say you choose to think of the source more. What do you think the experience will be in the soul? It'll be good. It'll be positive. So if the source has a lot of love and peace and purity, when you choose to think of that source, you are changing your pattern. You're intervening in the pattern, because now you're going from a core level of thinking. You're going deeper, because now this isn't physical. You're not thinking about changing your job. You're not thinking about leaving your spouse. You're not thinking of locking up your teenager until 10 years pass by, right? You're not thinking of physical solutions. You're thinking of something deeper. So, when you start to think about a higher level of consciousness that has a pure vibration, a pure energy, what starts to get recorded in you is something of the same quality. All right. I'm not about to make a political statement, right? And please don't take it that way. But some of us in this country feel very disillusioned, some. And when we think of a particular system or leadership, when we think of the leadership or the system, sometimes we feel a sense of disappointment. Have you felt that? Have you felt a sense of confusion? Have you felt even sometimes fear? Right? Sometimes. When you think of somebody who has caused you a lot of suffering in a relationship, what do you feel? What do you feel when you think of the person, even if the suffering happened 5 years ago or 10 years ago? You feel the sadness, you feel the suffering of the person, correct? Does that make sense? Okay. When you think of a baby, how do you feel? Right. When we just had a newborn baby that came this morning, Natalie. She's just two months old, and everyone looked at Natalie with just joy. Why? Because the vibration in Natalie is pure. Scientists have already proven that if you put certain drops of water or glass of water, and you put a person in front of that glass of water who's very angry, or you put somebody who's very happy, or you put somebody who's very loving, or somebody who's afraid, it will change the molecules in that glass of water. Have you heard about that research? That means the vibrations coming from me and you are actually changing matter. There's scientific proof. You believe me on that one? So, if I remember people that are toxic, what's the vibration that's going to enter my personality? How many of you watch the news a lot? Hands up. Mm-hmm. How do you feel when you watch it?
Terrible.
So why do you?
Good question.
Addiction? So that means that the more I feed into that vibration begins to feed into me. And it becomes a pattern. And it starts to become just a natural way I feed my experiences. But I want something else. I want something else. But I'm not checking my cycle or my pattern. Okay? So in the teachings of Raja Yoga meditation taught by the Brahma Kumaris, we're consistently inviting you, step out of your cycle. Step into a connection with Source. When you step into a connection with the Supreme Source, what you will receive is the vibration of what the Supreme Source offers. which is love and peace and purity and truth and freedom. So every time you find a thought in the midst of all your chaotic thinking, and you say, okay, I'm going to choose this one thought, I'm going to take it here. You've just broken your cycle. Something different has happened. It's like getting antibiotics when you get a virus. It's just going to take you a few days until it kicks in fully, but you started, and it will make you feel better. See, here's my advice to you as we come to a close of today's session on how to make your mind more calm from anxious. Know that there is a process that you've been going through, that you've been, like there's a system that you've been following with how you've been thinking. And the system has become so normal for you. And if in the world, what we have is a very high percentage of negativity, then the vibration of that negativity is troubling our minds. And sometimes we're not really the problem. But because we've not been discerning enough to say, this doesn't belong to me, this isn't my story, we still bring it in. Do you understand? They always say right now, culturally, if you can't change anything that's going on politically, then why are you bothered? Do something in which you can make a change in. So if I can't change healthcare, but I can change homelessness, because I can take care of the homeless, or then put your energy there. Why are you arguing about healthcare when you don't know anything about how you can change it? Use your energy where it will matter and where it will make a difference. Okay? That's a very important thing to remember. But most importantly, the invitation is to keep allowing yourself to tap into that higher source of energy, which you and I call Allah, God, Jehovah, Shiva, Khuda, Bhagwan, Ek Omkar, Lord, Jesus, Christ, whatever. There is an energy that is so powerfully pure. And if we can tap into it, there'll be more peace and harmony on the planet. A student of ours last week, she lost a relative in New Zealand. And so she came to the center last week very, very saddened by, I'm losing my faith in God, Sister Jenna. And even when my family members speak to me, we're all losing our faith in God. And her religious background is that she's from the branch of Islam. And I said, is it that you're losing your faith in God, or are you losing your faith in humanity? Because there are two different things. Okay? Let's work this through. Do you think God would hurt any one of his children? Well, look what just happened. But do you think he would do that to any of his children? What does your heart say? Immediately she said no. Okay. Would one of your brothers and sisters hurt another one of your brothers and sisters? And instantly the answer was, oh yes. And why? Because they're evil. I go, no, they're not evil. Would you say that they lack the experience of God's energy in them? And she's like, what do you mean? I go, if I don't have God's love in me, will I not perform an action that is godless? She goes, oh, I got that. So I told her this is why we want everybody to learn Raj Yoga, so they can have a connection to Source, so they can fill themselves up with this energy so they don't perform actions like that anymore. Because when you're full of energy, you will do no harm. Right? So you can see the times that we're in, right? So a lot of the energy that's in us is driven by a lower vibration. And what meditation and yoga will teach you is to raise your vibration so that we don't participate in that kind of a behavior. Makes sense? So here's your test paper, right? Tomorrow's Monday. Yay, work. All right. So before you go to work, I would like you to send pure vibrations to the folks on that floor that you're working with, especially if there's somebody in the office that is a little bit of your test paper. Just tell them I wish you well. Like, I bless you. Just send those pure vibrations. Remember, vibrations make a difference. If we can be here and we can hear something happening in New Zealand, we don't have any physical connection, but through thought and through the ethers and through a story, we felt it. Then the person at the workplace can feel my blessings on them. Practice, practice, practice. You will see the results. If you don't practice it, you won't see it. You'll be like, I went to that meditation class for an hour. They told me to do that. Nothing happened. I don't want to hear that. It's really, you have to practice it. Because what will happen is every time you have a pure thought about a person, you are served first. And every time you have a negative thought about a person, who feels it first? I do. So in Raj Yoga meditation, if you're feeling doubtful about your potential, it's on you. You're getting in your own way. If you feel very confident about your potential, it's on you. You are getting in your way, and all for the right reasons. And you're moving forward. So, my advice, please, interfere with your cycle. Interfere with your pattern. Bring God's vibration more into your thinking. It's private. You don't have to stamp it on your forehead. I'm remembering the divine. Don't you see? I'm a good meditator. It has nothing to do with them. It's in your heart. If you want to be a part of construction, beauty, power, harmony, and goodness, you're going to need to feel these qualities more and more. The more your spirit begins to experience a divine, subtle energy, you can begin to trust your mind. When it starts to send you signals, be nice to him even though he was mean to you. If you know the person in front of you has impure motives, you have become very wise. I see you, but I know that's not who you are. But then you won't make a decision to make a deal with them. But you wish them well, and you move on. Do you understand? Because the more you start to experience your truth, when illusion comes in from outside in, you can recognize it very easily. Then you'll stop getting tickets and having to pay fines, which come in the form of arguments, the feeling of loss, the feeling of frustration, regret, disappointment, all of those feelings. It's just because I'm holding on to an old story. It's time to move on, everyone. And it's time for us to release our past from these experiences. Let them go. Let it go. Let it go. How do you do it? Stop thinking about it. If you can't stop thinking about it, find some positive people to be with. Find people who are productive. People who are dreamers, who are making things happen, who are optimistic, who are doing good things in the world. If you're around people who are complaining, criticizing, judging, stop fighting. Because that's up. That's what's up with you. Then just accept that. Right? Got it? Any questions? You good? Is it too much homework?
Yeah.
Was it clear? Was it hard? Well, it depends.
Yeah.
It's easy. Just start one thing. So, check. Is a thought that you're having creating peace? Is it with a loving energy? Is it creating harmony in my body? How is it of service to others? The bigger picture. If you can't be clear on what your thoughts mean to you, check these 4 things, okay? To break your pattern, no matter what your thought process might be, always remember there is a source of love and purity and power available, which is like an ocean. Can you imagine if you were an ocean of love, what your whole nature would be like? Okay, now think about that. And what if you were an ocean of peace? What would be your vibrations? Can you imagine? Everybody would want to invite you to a chaotic situation. Oh, invite her. She'll calm everybody down. Had a question.
Question. Thank you so much for the
You're welcome.
But there's so much addiction and mental illness,
Yes.
which is now on the front page everywhere, especially in this country. And conventional wisdom says that mental illness is something that people are treating with medication.
Yes.
What is your thoughts about
Mm.
psychosis,
Totally get that, yeah.
delusions? Because that's very interesting how your theory, I mean, the wonderful approach, which I totally believe in.
Yeah.
And I do believe that positive thinking changes your chemistry.
Yes.
But what do you think about
Mm.
the situations when people claim that they cannot control?
Yeah, I have first-hand experience of it, so I feel really comfortable talking about this. The cure to all forms of mental illness. You ready? Pure feelings and good wishes. That's it. Pure feelings and good wishes. Now, some of us think that mental illness means I take an AK-47 rifle and go and shoot up somebody at a mosque. Mental illness is every time you and I get angry with ourselves. When we get angry with somebody. When we're jealous, when we're competitive, when we compare my life to yours and think yours is better, so I want it, so I'll do whatever I can do to get over on you. That's mental illness. That's not who we are. So we might wait for it to become a big issue, where you might have 10 personalities in one person, or you do something horrific. Please don't disregard each time you have a negative thought about somebody. It is a mental illness, and we have to stop it there. Got it? So the cure to all of our mental illness issues is practice now as much as you can pure feelings and good wishes. And can I tell you, you will have to do it for the rest of your life, because we're constantly bombarded by negative things. So negative things will keep going, oh my God, what did she put on today, right? You go right back, oh, I think she looks great. That might be her style. You've got to keep changing the energy. You've got to keep paying attention. And pure feelings and good wishes is the cure to mental illness, not just medication. So it's okay to take your medication, but don't give up on the power of your well wishes. That's what you need. Well wishes. Okay? All right. Anyone else? You good? All right. All right, thanks everyone. No clapping. I'm okay with all of that. Don't need it. Take a deep breath. Inhale and exhale. Release. Inhale. I'd like you to breathe in everything that you're grateful for. Mary Floor, everything you're happy about. Breathe out what you're not happy with. Breathe in everything that you believe is good for you. Breathe out what isn't useful for you. With each breath, I want you to think of something that you're totally, deeply appreciative for. Keep thinking about it. And keep letting out what you're not good with anymore. Keep taking your breaths. As they begin to slow down and get a little bit more relaxed, keep breathing. And as you observe your breath gently flowing in and out, I'd like you to start to notice your attention is being drawn behind your eyes. You're trying to capture some of the thoughts that were shared, some of the words that were spoken. And you beginning to think about your own life. How does this help me? Keep noticing your breath. as you keep taking in that which is good and pure and positive and true. And breathe out those negative and waste thoughts that are getting in your way, where the anxiousness feeds from. You know your thoughts are vibrations. And so what if you chose to direct your thoughts to the source of love, of peace, of purity? Imagine that something inside of you recognizes that you're so worthy to be loved purely, to be remembered in peace. And to feel absolutely accepted for who and what you are right now at this moment. You're okay with you. You're enough right now because you're with the source of love and peace and purity. Keep paying attention to your breath. Breathe in what is real. Breathe out what you don't need. Feel the weight of the week just fall away on the floor. All the pressures, the expectations, the things that didn't work out the way you wanted them, just breathe them out, let them fall to the floor. It's not important. Breathe in peace. Breathe out the anger. Breathe in love. Breathe out the dependency. Breathe in purity. And breathe out desires. Accept you are more than enough right now. You're doing the best that you can. Sometimes it feels overwhelming. Sometimes all I need is a little bit of more support, just a little help. But you must recognize you're doing the best that you can. And you will do better after today. You'll serve your spirit as of today by paying attention to what you're thinking and feeling. Breathe in deeply. Breathe out. Give God's loving energy and God's loving peaceful vibrations permission to access your experiences because you're worthy. That you're worthy to feel God's love, peace, you're okay now. And you pay attention to keeping yourself okay for as long as you can. Just keep believing in your highest value. Keep believing in the best version of yourself. And turn off the volume of the sounds of people who are negative. Stay focused. Stay focused. Every challenge, every setback, every disappointment is teaching you a strength. It's giving you a chance to learn more, to prepare for your future. Accept them for what they are. Opportunities of growth. Breathe in what is good. Breathe out what's getting in your way. Now gently allow silence to surround you. Breathe deeply. Exhale again. Keep sending your good wishes. Feel free to stay as still and as long as you wish.